Emily, young and bright-eyed, received the letter. It was an ordinary day, or so she thought, until the postman handed her an envelope that would change her life forever. The letter was from a lawyer, detailing an unexpected inheritance. An uncle, long forgotten, had passed. She barely remembered him, a distant figure in old family stories, yet he had left her something extraordinary. His mansion, perched atop a windswept hill, was hers. The lawyer's letter described it as a grand Victorian estate, a relic of a bygone era. It seemed like a fairy tale, a grand estate waiting just for her. The mansion was surrounded by lush gardens with towering trees and blooming flowers, a paradise she never imagined she would own. Excitement bubbled inside her as she packed her bags. She could hardly wait to see her new home, to explore every nook and cranny of the vast estate. Little did she know this inheritance held a darkness within its walls. The mansion, though beautiful, had a history shrouded in mystery and whispers of the past. The house stood, imposing and grey, against the stormy sky. It loomed over the landscape, a silent sentinel watching over the hills. Its windows, like vacant eyes, watched her approach. They seemed to hold secrets, stories of the past waiting to be uncovered. A chill ran down her spine, a shiver that had nothing to do with the wind. It was as if the house itself was alive, sensing her presence. As she stepped inside, the heavy oak door creaked shut behind her. Emily was trapped. The air inside was thick with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. She felt a sense of foreboding, as if the walls themselves were closing in on her. Dust lay thick on the furniture, and cobwebs clung to every chandelier. The air hung heavy, stale and cold. Emily wandered through the rooms, each one grander yet emptier than the last. Strange symbols adorned the walls, hidden in plain sight. A noise, soft and like whispers, drifted from the end of the hallway. Her heart pounded in her chest. Slowly, she followed the sound. The whispers grew louder, echoing around her. Suddenly they stopped. She was alone, or was she? Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares plagued Emily, filled with shadowy figures and blood-curdling screams. She woke each morning more exhausted than the last. The house was changing her. One day she discovered a hidden room. Inside, a dusty journal lay open. Its pages spoke of a family torn apart, of betrayal and madness. The words seemed to jump out at her, pulling her into their darkness. This house, she realized, held a dark and terrible history. Section 4. The Unveiling. Fueled by a mix of fear and insatiable curiosity, Emily delved deeper into the mansion's dark and mysterious past. The air was thick with tension as she moved from room to room, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. Each piece of information she uncovered was more horrifying than the last. The documents were old and brittle, filled with stories of tragedy and despair. Emily's heart raced as she pieced together the mansion's sinister history. Murders, suicides, whispers of dark rituals. This house had seen it all. The newspaper clippings detailed gruesome events that had taken place within these very walls. Emily felt a chill run down her spine as she read about the dark rituals that were rumoured to have been performed here. One photograph, cracked and faded, showed a woman standing in the same room as Emily. The image was haunting, the woman's expression one of sheer terror. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Her eyes, wide with terror, stared directly at the camera. It was as if she was trying to convey a warning through the photograph. Emily's own reflection in the mirror showed the same fear, mirroring the woman's expression. It was then that Emily realized something chilling. The woman was standing right where she was. The eerie shadow in the photograph seemed to overlap with her own, blurring the lines between past and present. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she felt an icy presence beside her, confirming her worst fears. Section 5. The Mirror's Reflection. Emily spun around, her heart pounding in her chest. The room was eerily silent, the kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. She could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand up, a primal instinct warning her of unseen dangers, but there was no one there. She was alone, or so it seemed. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to shift and move, playing tricks on her mind. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. Or was she? As she glanced at the antique mirror across the room, a cold dread gripped her. The mirror, with its ornate frame and dusty surface, seemed to beckon her closer. She hesitated, but an inexplicable force drew her in. Staring back at her wasn't her own reflection. It was the woman from the photograph. The woman's eyes, hollow and filled with sorrow, seemed to pierce through Emily's soul. She felt a chill run down her spine as the figure in the mirror began to move. Her eyes, filled with a terrifying rage, locked onto Emily's. The room seemed to grow colder, the air thick with an oppressive presence. Emily wanted to look away, but she was paralyzed with fear. A scream escaped Emily's lips as the reflection lunged out of the mirror, its cold, bony fingers reaching for her throat. The darkness consumed her. She felt the icy grip tighten, her vision blurring as she struggled to breathe. The last thing she saw was the ghostly woman's face, twisted in a malevolent grin before everything went black.